All right, a dream match, 20 years in the making for the
For a dream match, I was kind of disappointed. It wasn't
really.
Well, it was kind of a Haas. It was a Haas to end all Haas matches.
It really was, but it was. That's what it was going to be.
Oh, I know.
I wanted.
What I didn't like was
I wanted more of a spotlight on this match.
I did too.
I feel like this match got lost in the general shuffle.
It got lost in the shuffle,
and I feel like that's not what you want in a match like this. Once again, they booked themselves into a corner. I think if this was maybe more of that Mania match that we really wanted, it would have been different.
Well, because they didn't even finish the match clean.
The problem is that this is where the Royal Rumble kind of gets faulty, is that people watch the Royal Rumble not for the other matches.
They watch it for the actual Rumbles.
Right. They watch it for the Rumble. So this is your opportunity to maybe do a tie loose end sort of thing.
Right.
This would have been better with Brock Lesnar, Big E to tie off that end.
Right.
Instead of Bobby Lashley. Wait for Bobby Lashley for a place where it will be the marquee match.
Like Mania.
Right. Mania or even Elimination Chamber if you want to be that person.
Well, yeah. Elimination Chamber. The only reason Elimination Chamber feels any special this year is because it's in fucking Saudi Arabia.
I know, but they would have promoted this match as the marquee.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, even at a place like not the Royal Rumble, but at Elimination Chamber, despite the Elimination Chamber supposed to be the marquee, the Royal Rumble takes precedent over all of that.
Right.
And it just got lost. It was a fun Haas match. I enjoyed it.
The only thing I didn't enjoy about it was the Roman Reigns interference, but I understand why they did
right.
it. It felt lost. It was not like the spotlight of the night.
Right. Paul Heyman betrayed Brock Lesnar, giving the belt to Reigns, hitting him over the head, and then Bobby Lashley going over there to pin Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. Bobby Lashley is the new WWE champion going into Mania. What the plan is at this point, I don't know.
I don't know it either.
Because, once again, they're booking themselves into a weird situation, which
are.
we'll talk about when we make this majestic again.
Yep.
But
I have ideas as to what they're doing. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it.
Right. I'm kind of in the same boat with you on that one. All right, Peanut Gallery, let's make this majestic again. Now, with the Women's Royal Rumble match, the only thing I probably would have done a little bit differently was changing the men's and the women's, flipping them around
and then flipping around Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler.
Yes, because it felt like that was kind of weird. So there were a couple of flips, but the problem is that we had a couple of different weird stare downs where you and I have a bit of a disagreement. Yours is based on the fact that these are the current plans for Mania according to rumors. But for me, this is the one I feel like is the most logical choice.
I feel like Rousey and Becky would have been is the obvious choice. That's the match that all of us have been clamoring for. I don't think anyone's looking forward to Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey, but that's just what's going to happen at Mania.
This is, if that is the case, that is frustrating because number one, it doesn't make sense on the general storyline on anything.
No,
it doesn't, because Ronda Rousey was pinned by Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, and Becky Lynch has had a championship from then to now.
Right, without losing it.
She's never lost she has always had a champion in some way, shape, or form between those 2 points in time.
Right.
Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch, number one, we did not get that one-on-one because of Nia Jax.
Right.
And the triple threat match at Mania because Charlotte has to be Charlotte, right? I mean, I'm not dissing Charlotte. She's awesome, but, they got to have Charlotte Flair in there somewhere.
Course.
So, that is the most logical main event WrestleMania. And they've been booking this forever. Charlotte Flair versus Lita for the SmackDown Women's.
Right.
That's the clear direction that people want to see. Lita's hit the twist of fate on Charlotte twice now without a comeuppance from Charlotte at all.
And maybe the plans will change, but as of right now,
we've already had that match.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense for that match to be the big one. It's like, do you not think Charlotte Flair and Lita's gonna be an awesome match? Lita did great tonight.
Yeah.
And I think her and Charlotte have a really good fire against each other, and they have a rivalry that makes sense. People want to see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously, the dream match still has not happened where Ronda Rousey has to face Becky Lynch.
Right.
It's obvious. I would have not have done anything else about this match. Mickie James coming out the way she did, and them respecting her wishes on doing that was so awesome. Maybe some of the surprise entrants were a little tacky, and some of them were not good.
I just think there were injuries and stuff preventing a few that I would have liked to have seen.
So who was injured that you possibly could have thought? Oh, other than Bayley and Asuka are the obvious
Bayley
ones.
and Asuka are set to come back next month. So, I was hoping that maybe they would been able to come back in such a way, but that's one of those things. Also, remember Lacey Evans is still signed with the company, and
right?
She's training right now to come back into the ring again. I
know. She had kind of a rough pregnancy too.
It's just circumstantial. Whatever,
it would have made it a little more impactful if it was that way.
Right.
Was there anybody that really stood out to you as like somebody that could be a big thing later from the Rumble? Like anybody who really stood out to you other than maybe the obvious people?
Not really.
The only person that I would say was kind of a star in this one, well, number one, Natalya did great. And also Rhea Ripley kind of shined a little bit for me too.
Yeah, nothing's gonna happen with those.
I know, it's unfortunate, but they just kind of lost their luster. Right. I think Melina coming back, I kind of wish there was maybe a little more on what's happening there because she signed with the NWA. I feel like maybe her saying something as it relates to current NWA wrestler Lita is coming back for it. It's like that would have been really cool.
Right.
They obviously had to do the entrance different for Melina because it's not like there's a definitive entrance song for NWA people.
Right.
So I just love this match. I think by far it was the best women's Royal Rumble, and I did like the winner. People are going to bitch about it, though. This was a great, weird placement for it. There has to be a curtain jerker match.
Oh, there it is.
Like, there clearly has to. I just feel like this one, based on the rivalry, just didn't make sense to me.
Right.
Maybe the Becky Lynch Doudrop match would have been really good here. But other than that, I would have done nothing different. I really, really wish they could have done something with Mox, though.
Well, see, that's the only thing is that I wish that Mox would have shown up.
It's hard to bring up the Shield without all members of the Shield.
It is.
And Seth Rollins coming out.
I feel like Mox should have been involved in some way.
Right. I think that would have been really cool. I'm pretty sure you would have been okay with it.
Well, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I just don't know what the relationship is with AEW right now. So it's just really hard for me to get fully invested into a storyline relating to the Shield without all members of the Shield.
Right.
It's weird. Like all the packages, you clearly see him. They're trying to edit him out. It just looks awkward.
Yeah.
But the structure of the match itself was really good, and I did like how they kept both guys really strong, even at the ending. Kind of weird. Would have maybe done something a little bit different, but it is what it is. The emotion was perfect though. It was definitely an emotional match. I enjoyed it. Men's Royal Rumble should have been match number 2.
Yep.
I
was very disappointed with these, quote, surprise entrants.
Yeah, I was too.
I understand that maybe one or two of them was warranted, but you got people on NXT who need to be called up to the main roster.
Right. You have NXT. You have a bunch of great people there. What about like Braun Breaker or something?
No, not Braun Breaker.
Tommaso
no.
Ciampa.
I'm talking about like your Tommaso Ciampas,
Pete
Pete Dunnes, who have had matches on the main roster.
I think Pete Dunne was in a Royal Rumble.
Remember, well, see, they don't consider NXT a third brand anymore.
I know, and that's so sad.
But like I said, I know that there are some people who are on the NXT roster who have been doing matches on the main show.
Right.
What a great way to introduce them to the main roster.
Right, put them in something like this, but they just don't want people to start screaming NXT. NXT, it's like, you're not going to win this. I mean, these people are going to be coming from NXT. They know them. Especially with a person like Tommaso Ciampa who bleeds black and fucking gold.
Right.
And if you don't have that, then why are you bringing back, bless Shane McMahon's heart, but for God's sake.
I don't want to see Shane McMahon.
Right.
Unless there's a storyline with him going into Mania, but I don't know what that is.
Right. At the very least with Johnny Knoxville, there was a storyline going into it, and they built something with it.
Right.
And it had a satisfying conclusion. It was obvious that he's a huge wrestling fan because he was taking moves. Like, he was getting hit with Styles and getting frog splashes. The guy was invested.
Right.
And I like people who are at least invested into the match itself.
Right.
And I think with Lesnar, I don't want to say Lesnar was a bad choice, but there was there was another way. They are booking themselves into a corner.
I know.
And that's a problem because they just want to do Reigns and Lesnar for God knows what reason.
Well, and I was hoping that it would. I'm hoping that Lesnar decides to go for both titles on two separate nights, have him win both champions. But I'm all about that title unification. I don't think it's going to happen because of the relationships that WWE has with two separate networks, with Fox and with
USA.
Right, with NBC, but it's just I don't know.
Yeah, it was a very weird match. Weaker than it should have been.
Yeah,
Rumble.
It was a weak Rumble.
If it wasn't the main event, I probably would have forgiven a lot more on it than I did. I would have not have booked this anything different. I thought Doudrop looked very strong. She was very confident in the match. Becky Lynch played that, oh my God, I don't know how to beat this woman perfectly. But the problem is that this is a double heel title match.
No one cares.
Right. And also, it was in such a bad place, especially after such a great Rumble. It's like, if you want this to be, I don't think they wanted this to be a big match, but at the same time, I mean, Jesus Christ, they worked hard. Give them at least some sort of okay-ish placement. And I think that's what's hard about this for me is that the matches weren't bad. It's just the placement was off, so you just didn't get that. You just didn't get that full experience. Once again, it shouldn't have been at the Royal Rumble. This should have been WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, or even Survivor Series.
Oh no! This should have been next month at the Chamber.
It should have been somewhere else, not the Rumble.
No, because it's overshadowed by the Rumble.
It could have literally been at any other pay-per-view, and nobody would have been mad.
Right.
When you go into a gimmick match like the Royal Rumble, for being as long as it's been around for, that's the marquee. This match should have been a marquee.
I mean, it was pretty forgettable considering everything else that was going on.
Yeah, exactly. There were so many other good things. It was just, I hate saying it, it was just kind of a match.
Yeah.
And then the ending where you had Reigns doing. I understand Reigns doing that. You had to get the WWE. Why did you have to take the title off of Brock?
I know. Why?
What was the point of Brock having the belt in the fucking first place?
I don't know.
Wasn't Lashley supposed to win the Fatal 4-Way at Day 1, or was it Big E supposed to retain it?
I think Big E was supposed to retain.
There was no point of Lesnar winning this now. If he has a contractual obligation to win the title at some point in time, I don't mind that. I don't. But the problem is that it was a wrong place at the wrong time, because now Lesnar has this totally weird, random title reign that lasted less than a month.
Yeah.
It's not even the end of the month yet.
Right.
And I feel like the WWE champion, no matter who it is, shouldn't be hot-shotted like that.
Right.
Let Big E lose it to Lashley at this. I feel like that would have been much more impactful.
Anyways.
And then Lesnar winning the Royal Rumble wouldn't have been such a big problem for me. WWE just makes this shit so... I mean, number one, it's good for us. But number two, they just make it so complicated.
Oh, God, yes.
It was the placement of the match.
It was weird. I knew this match was not going to be stellar going into it.
It was not supposed to be a stellar match. I think this is the perfect kind of match for the Royal Rumble.
It is.
It's there.
Right.
You're going to at least get a good match or an okay match. I like the match personally, but it was not the main focus.
Right.
And it never was, and nobody thought so. But when you have dream matches and matches with a lot of emotion, you get this. This is just a nice cookie cutter, let's keep family. It's just going to be a mixed tag sort of rivalry. Right. That's different.
It's your one that appeals to the women, because
right.
the women love this kind of match.
Right.
Blah, blah,
this
blah.
This is your appealing to that. This is your nice little cool down match where you're gonna get a fun little match, but it's not gonna overshadow anything.
Right.
But they put it at they put it in such a weird spot right before the main event after the dream match. It was just all the way around such a weird thing. And to be honest with you, that was the end of the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So next week, I have no idea what we're going to be doing, because the next 2 weeks we don't have any shows.
Well, we got a couple debates that we want to do, so...
I think I only have one that I have written down.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. To be determined.
Right. So if you enjoyed this, remember to like, subscribe, follow wherever you're listening to this on, become a patron. Links for all of that is down below in the description. And as always, be
majestic.